We were on the couch. His leg brushed against mine every few moments, barely there. Like he didn't even realize. It was harmless, at least at first. Then his hand slipped. It wasn't bold. No sudden move, just a hesitant, almost timid drift of his fingers. He skimmed along the outside of my leg. It froze, breath hitching. He didn't pull back, and I didn't either. My chest lifted with a sharp inhale. Began with nothing. Just a still evening, a softly lit room, and the faint flicker of a vintage film playing in the background. I never planned for anything to unfold. I hadn't even allowed myself to imagine it. But when his fingers brushed mine, something within me shifted. And once it did, there was no going back. My name is Clara. I'm 46. I've been married to the same man, Ethan, for over 20 years. We have 2 children, a home with payments, and a long stretch of daily repetition. We don't argue anymore. We don't laugh either. We simply move through life like a system that forgot it once, ran on love. He gets home, I cook, we clean, we sleep, then repeat. But feeling seen, feeling wanted, feeling alive, that part of me had been asleep for so long until Mason. Mason is 31. He's the son of my closest friend. He grew up coming over for movie nights, family cookouts, and afternoons by the pool. He used to call me Miss Clara. I can still picture his high school graduation. He hugged me longer than most would, and I didn't think twice about it then. But somewhere between college and adulthood, something changed. He got taller, broader, quieter. There was always a gentleness in him that never quite went away, but his presence started to feel different. He noticed things like when I wore something new or when I looked worn out. Ethan hadn't noticed anything in years. That night, it was just the 2 of us. Ethan had taken his pain meds early and was out cold upstairs. Mason had stayed after dinner to finish a movie. He liked the old ones, said they made him feel calm. I sat beside him on the couch like I had dozens of times before, but something was different this time. The room felt thick. His knee nudged mine lightly. I didn't pull away. The glow from the screen painted shifting shadows across the walls. I barely knew what movie was playing. All I could feel was the pressure of his leg gently against mine. Then it happened. His hand shifted. First it was light, just a touch. His fingers brushed against my thigh. My whole body tightened. I didn't look at him. Didn't speak. I just sat there still in the quiet. He didn't pull away. And neither did I. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't fast. His pinky curled slightly, now resting softly on my leg. A beat passed. His palm turned upward, open, waiting. I clutched the blanket in my lap. I stared at the screen, though I couldn't have told you a single scene. Then I heard his voice. "Whoa, careful. You okay?" he asked in a whisper. I nodded. That was all it took. His hand settled more firmly on my thigh. Not forceful, not needy, just present. My skin flamed under his touch. My lips parted, but I had no words. Then his thumb moved, tracing one long, slow line over the curve of my leg. My breath caught. My thighs instinctively pressed together. Still, I didn't stop him. His hand moved upward barely. I shifted slightly, my knees parting just a little. I hated how natural it felt. I had convinced myself for years that I no longer needed affection, that Ethan and I had simply grown into quiet. But in that moment, Mason reminded me that quiet isn't comfort, it's emptiness, and I was aching. We didn't kiss right away. We didn't even meet eyes. He watched the movie. I watched him. His fingers grazed under the edge of my shorts, below certain intent. I forgot how to breathe. He leaned in, not to kiss, but to murmur, "I'll stop if you want." I couldn't answer, because I didn't want him to stop. He touched me like I was something to be remembered. Like he had waited for this moment, not chased it. And this was it. When I finally turned to face him, I kissed him, unsteady real. His lips on mine felt like surfacing after being under too long. I didn't know who I was anymore. Not a wife, not a mother, just a woman aching to be wanted. We folded into each other on the couch. The movie forgotten. He was slow, almost worshipful. My shirt inched up to my ribs. His hands were warm and certain against my bare skin. I kept thinking, I should stop. This has to stop. But every time I tried, he touched me in a way that erased the logic from my brain. Not rough, not urgent, just knowing. A sound in the hallway stopped us. Creak. Maybe a pipe, maybe the house just breathing. He pulled back, forehead resting against mine. We shouldn't be doing this, he whispered. I know. But I kissed him again because it was already too late. By the time the credits rolled, we were wrapped in silence, limbs tangled. I looked at him, shirt rumpled, lips red, eyes searching. What now? I asked. He didn't reply. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen, coffee untouched. I heard the bathroom door creak open. He passed by quietly, just refilled his glass. I didn't look at him, but the air was thick with the weight of what we didn't say, the kind of tension that simmers under small talk. Later that week, we crossed paths in the laundry room. Our hands met over the basket. We both froze. I can't stop thinking about it, he said. Me neither, I replied. But we both understood. We couldn't let it happen again. Only that night hadn't satisfied the hunger. It had ignited it. I started avoiding the living room after dark. I locked the bedroom door, not to keep him out, but to keep myself in. I still felt his breath at my neck, his hand on my thigh, that look that said I wasn't invisible. A few days later, we sat on the back steps at dusk. The sky painted soft orange and gold. He sat at the far end, not near, not far. You've been quiet, he said. I've been thinking. Me too. I looked over at him finally. I should have stopped it. But you didn't, he said. And I didn't stop you. We sat in that silence, the kind that weighs more than words ever could. I didn't say goodbye when he stood and walked off into the fading light. I just watched until he was gone. Inside, Ethan was doing the dishes. I stood in the doorway, glass in hand, and lied without speaking when he asked, You okay? I nodded. But I wasn't, because the worst part wasn't that it happened. The worst part was that I wanted it.